until you are converted and you become a little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of God. The disciples, they went to Jesus and they were asking Jesus, who will be the greatest? It's amazing how we all are fighting to get to the top, but we do not know that getting to the top is actually living the dreams that we have when we were younger, when we were a child. So a lot of people, the moment they get to an adult age, they tend to give up on their childhood dreams. And Jesus is saying, for you to be able to make heaven, you must have a childlike faith. You must have a childlike faith. You must be converted to a child. Unless you are converted to a child, Jesus says you cannot make heaven. Isn't it amazing that a child, until the moment they can reason, they are innocent. Until the age of 3, they are innocent. Nobody will teach them to do wrong, or nobody will teach them to lie. But the moment they are 3, they can tell you what they did that you know that they did. They will tell you that they didn't do it. Why? Because it's in the nature of man, born of a woman, to do wrong things. So as a child, as children, the only way we can shape them and mold them is through God's word. Jesus, when the people were asking Jesus, the adults were asking Jesus who's going to be the greatest, and Jesus is saying to them, if you want to be a great person, you must be like a child. Isn't it amazing that Jesus will quantify greatness to us being like a child? Why would Jesus, in everything, Jesus did not say go and work hard. Jesus did not say go and strive for more. Jesus did not say go and fulfill all the commandments I've given unto you. But Jesus says, I want you to become as a little child. I want you to become as a little child. Why did Jesus say become as a little child? Because Jesus knows that as a little child, we must be humble. If we read further, here in verse 3, verily I say unto you, except you be converted and become like a little child, you shall not enter into the kingdom of God. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child. You see what Jesus is saying? Whosoever will humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever shall receive one such little child in my name receives me. So children are important to God. Children are important to God. Which way do you think is more better to bring up a child or to train a child? The Bible says, train a child the way that it should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. Isn't it amazing that even in the world that we are living in right now, some parents would rather have their children sit at home than even go to church. Some parents would rather have their children go to a playground than go to church. Some parents would rather have their children sit in front of TV playing a video game than go to church. A lot of children in this dispensation are being raised by TV. And because they are raised by TV, they behave irrationally. God is looking for children that will grow up to show His attribute in their world, in their generation. Jesus is saying, when you receive this small child, you receive me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drawn in the depth of the sea. What is Jesus saying? Jesus is saying to each and every one that when it comes to the kingdom of God, no matter how old you get, you are still a child. So just we say today, oh, we are having the Children's Day today. Or if care is not taken, we will consider what we are having today as for little kids. We all are children in the hands of God. There is no one that will say, oh, I'm an adult of God. There is no adult of God. We are all child of God. I've grown so much in my spirituality, I now say I'm an adult. No, there is no adult of God. We are all child of God. Because to God we are His children. A 70-year-old man that still have a mother or a father living, to the mother or to the father, they are still their children. So no matter how old we get, no matter how we grow spiritually, to God we are still His children. To God we are still His child. So Jesus is saying, no matter what you achieve, no matter what you want to achieve, guess what? You must have a childlike faith. Now let's look at Matthew chapter 19. Matthew chapter 19 from verse 13. Isn't it amazing how some older people, they are quick to put down younger ones, especially when it comes to the things of God. Oh man, you can't do it that way. That is not how to do it. The older people are caught up with their religion. And because they are caught up with their religion, when the younger ones want to do it differently, they are quick to put them down, to tell them that is not how we do it. Religion don't move God. Only relationship does. Your religion will not move God, but your relationship with Him will move God. God is looking for a father to a child relationship. God will be moved more by a child that goes to the father than by a preacher that goes to the father based on religion. The adults are quick to put down the young ones because of the way they used to do things. Sometimes the way that you used to do things is old. God has moved on from the old way of doing things, and God has moved to a new way of doing things. If you go to the Old Testament, in the temple, Eli was the old prophet. Samuel was a young boy. And God was about to move from the level of Eli. God is about to move to Samuel. God is about to move from generation of Eli to generation of Samuel. And God called Samuel, and because Samuel was a young boy, couldn't discern the voice of God, and he went to Eli and he asked that, Eli, you called me. Eli said, I didn't call you. Go back to sleep. 3 times it happened, and the 3rd time, Eli now realized what is happening. There is about to be a shift. God is about to shift from the old generation to the young generation. And Eli said to Samuel, if you hear that voice again, just say, your servant is listening, just speak. It's only a secure leader that will give his office for a younger one coming up. A leader that is not secured will always want to micromanage a younger prodigy that is coming up. When they brought little children to Jesus, the disciples were the ones that are actually blocking Jesus. They are the bodyguards. Now let's look at it. Matthew chapter 19. Matthew chapter 19 from verse 13. Then were there brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them and pray. And the disciples rebuked them. Is it a sin to bring a child to Jesus? If someone that is sick will run after Jesus for healing, if someone that is bound by the devil will run to Jesus to be delivered, if someone that is possessed will run to Jesus to be set free, Why would they now bring children to Jesus and the disciples now rebuke them that they should not come? Because we are quick to guard what we think we know. Anytime that a young person brings up an idea, if care is not taken, the older one, they always want to shove the idea to the side. They rebuked them, but Jesus said to them, "Suffer little children and forbid them not to come unto me. For of such is the kingdom of heaven." And we saw in chapter 18 that Jesus said the kingdom of heaven belongs to those that are converted to become like children. Until our attitude becomes like that of a child. He says we cannot make heaven. You can see every one of us. We have childlike attitude and we have childish attitude. Childlike attitude is different from childish attitude. Childlike attitude is not keeping malice. Childish attitude is constantly saying, "It's for me, it's mine, it's all for me." If you give something to a child, if they don't like to share, they want to grab everything to themselves. And Jesus is saying, if we have that kind of an attitude, heaven is not ours. Do you know there are a lot of people that God has shown some things to, that because they are not sharing it with anyone, they have not grown from that which God has shown to them. The reason why a lot of people are not growing is because they are holding that which God has given unto them that they need to share. If you choose to hold on to everything that you have, there is no out that you will receive. A bored end will never get anything. Only the end that is open. A childish attitude constantly holds on to things. A childlike attitude gives out things. That is why I love what Paul said in Corinthians. He said, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I spoke like a child, but when I become a man, I give up a childish ways of behavior. So we need to get to a place where we give up childish ways of behavior. What the disciples were trying to do is they were trying to get the children from not coming to Jesus. But Jesus said to them, "Don't forbid these ones. As a matter of fact, I will relate with them more than I can relate with you." Most of us, we have forgotten that when Jesus actually died, he died at the age of 33. A lot of us, we always think when Jesus died, he was like Moses. He's like a grown prophet. No, Jesus died at the age of 33. So if he can relate with anyone, he can relate with more people his age, more youth, than even the adult. Yet even though he's the ancient of days, he's God and man at the same time, but he died young. So I can see why he's saying to the disciples, don't stop these ones from coming. Just as I'm reaching to the adults, I want to reach out to them as well. They are part of those that have come into the world to die for. Not just for the adults, but for the young ones. When they have the understanding of what God has called them to be at a tender age, it will be easy for them when they get to an adult age to key into what God has called them to do. A lot of us will have fulfilled purpose if we know what we have called, if we know what God has created us to do early in life. But because we didn't tap into that, or we didn't know what it is, we have moved from different jobs to another job, from different career to another career, and still some have not even located or they have not found out what it is that God has created them to do. But it is good for a child to know this is why God has created me, and for that I will live. Because the moment you start living your purpose, then you can impact your generation. And the only way that can be is when we allow the children to go to their Creator. When we allow the children to go to their Creator so that their Creator can reveal to them that which He has created them to be. Verse 15, He laid His hands on them and He departed from there. Jesus lays His hand on them, He prayed over them, and He left. So the children coming to Jesus, He will not stop Jesus from fulfilling His ministry. The children coming to church will not stop the church from moving forward. The children coming to church will not stop the church from fulfilling the assignment that God has sent the church to fulfill in the city where the church is. But will we allow the children to do what God has placed in their heart? Everyone, from the oldest to the youngest baby, there is a God-given dream that He has put in the heart of each and every one. And that dream can only be fulfilled by the Spirit of God that He will release on each and every one of them. But if care is not taken, because of that which we have, that the religion mentality that we have, we will choke the dream in the little children from being from coming to materialization. When we get to heaven, the question will be, how did you raise them? Did you point them to the way? Did you show them the way? Did you tell them about me? That is what God said concerning Abraham. He said, I know you, that you will train the generation after you in my way. Will we train them after the ways of God, or will we just train them by the thing that is going on in our world? If we use the world standard to train our children, the way they are going to live will be the world standards kind of way. But if we train our children in the ways of God, when they go into the world, they will exhibit godly character. You cannot expect them to live a godly character when we have not shown them or trained them in a godly way. We can only expect them to live a godly character or exhibit a godly attribute when we have given them and they have seen us live the same way. So my prayer for each and every one of us, parents, this morning, is that God will use each and every one of us to raise our children in a way whereby God Himself will take glory and get glory out of their lives. That is my prayer. That is my prayer for each and every one, each and every parent here. That is my prayer for even those that might watch this sermon. That is my prayer, that God will give each and every one of us the spiritual insight on how to train our children in this modern generation. Because if care is not taken, we will raise them not in the godly way. If care is not taken, we can raise them and think, well, I've done my best. Anything that is that is lesser than godly way of raising them is not the best way of raising them when it comes to church. If you are not in church, you can raise them anyhow you want to raise them. But as long as you are in church, you have to raise them in a godly way. Because God is going to hold each and every one of us accountable on how we raise our children. Amen.
Amen.
Let us bow down our head this morning and let us pray.